I'm the actress everyone loves to hate, a has-been who has become a national laughingstock online. So, when I got a chance to join a celebrity couple's reality show, I was desperate enough to hire a complete stranger to play my husband, just a regular guy who pulled in a modest $50,000 a year. The day the show premiered, the scene was absolutely terrifying. I was standing there, completely out of my element, surrounded by A-list movie stars, wealthy heirs, and famous socialites, just trying not to visibly tremble. And that's when my temporary husband, my hired actor for the show, decided to make his grand entrance. He rolled up in a gleaming black Bentley. I immediately pulled him aside, my voice a frantic whisper. "I told you to dress decently," I hissed. "I didn't tell you to go out and rent a Bentley." My fake husband just gave me a calm, unbothered look. "The company had its IPO on NASDAQ a couple of days ago," he said, his voice smooth as silk. "Your net worth is now about $5 billion US. I think you can afford to speak with a little more confidence." It was 9 o'clock in the morning when I arrived right on time in the picturesque town of Willow Creek, all set to begin filming the reality show, Sweet Home. It was the latest hit series, a reality competition show focused on married couples. Each season, they invite 4 celebrity couples to live together in a single villa, where they spend 2 weeks competing in a series of challenges to rack up intimacy points and determine who is the true model couple. Honestly, I had absolutely zero expectation of winning anything. And right on cue, the moment my face appeared on screen, the live stream's comment section absolutely exploded. "Why on earth did the production team invite Clara? She's a total jinx. Ugh, she's everywhere. I'm done. Changing the channel. Hold on, this season also has the award-winning actor Vincent and that beloved veteran acting couple. I'll just watch the edited version later and skip all the parts with the professional villain." As the go-to actress for villainous supporting roles in several popular TV shows, my public image was so bad that I was constantly getting ridiculed on social media. People called me Hollywood's black hole of bad PR. Next to me, literally anyone could be considered America's sweetheart. I was waiting by the roadside for my fake husband, Tomas, when a black Range Rover pulled up. A man and a woman got out. The man, wearing a baseball cap, was none other than the A-list actor, Vincent. The woman on his arm was Tiffany. Just last year, she and I were both struggling extras on the same film set, but now she was Vincent's new wife, and her star was rapidly rising. The moment she saw me, she waved enthusiastically. "Clara." I dutifully greeted them. "Vincent, Tiffany." Tiffany glanced around, a curious look on her face. "So where's your husband? I heard he's the only non-celebrity this season. Everyone is dying to meet him." I shifted uncomfortably, my eyes darting toward the end of the road. The mood in the comment section immediately turned gleeful and malicious. "Clara married a normal guy? Ha 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 ha. This season has a millionaire heir and an A-lister like Vincent. This is going to be good." Last season, 2 of the couples divorced right after the show ended. Can we expect the same from Clara and her husband? Look how nervous she is. I bet her other half doesn't even want to be here. They weren't wrong. That was my biggest fear at that moment. It wasn't that we were on bad terms or anything. The main issue was that I barely knew my husband. I was also genuinely worried that a regular office worker like him wouldn't be able to get such a long leave of absence from his job. Tiffany stood beside me, feigning sympathy. "Don't worry about it. Last season, one of the guests joined halfway through. It's perfectly fine to be a few days late." The comments section was flooded with praise for how beautiful and kind Tiffany was. I played along, nodding and making appreciative noises as if her words had actually comforted me. That's just how reality TV works, right? Everyone is trying to cultivate a certain persona. Tiffany was going for the sweet, doting wife. My reputation was already in the gutter, so I was perfectly fine playing the part of the supporting character, the foil to her perfection. It didn't matter who I was making look good. We waited for a little while longer until a bus pulled up to the stop and one person got off. He was tall with long legs, a perfectly proportioned figure, and an exceptionally refined air about him. Even a quick glance was a feast for the eyes. "Hey, Clara," Tiffany exclaimed, "this town must have some great feng shui. Even the random people on the street are gorgeous. He could almost give my husband a run for his money." I replied modestly, "Oh, no, you're too kind. He's still not quite on Vincent's level." Then, realization dawned on Tiffany's face. Her jaw dropped, and she stared at me as if she'd just seen a ghost. I strode forward, extending my long legs to greet Tomas eagerly, rubbing my hands together. "So, you made it?" Tomas gave a cool nod. "Yes." The moment his face appeared on camera, the comment section went silent for a beat before erupting into a collective frenzy. "Holy crap. You call that a normal person? Clara's husband is the most handsome one here? Is there any justice in the world? You know, there might actually be something to this Clara woman after all." Tomas and I entered the villa, where the other 3 couples were already gathered in the main hall. When I introduced Tomas, everyone's expressions were a bit strange. He just didn't look like a regular guy. Tiffany, ever the busybody, immediately started asking questions. "So, Tomas, what do you do for work?" I told her the truth. "He works at a tech company." Tiffany seemed to let out a small sigh of relief. The comments section rejoiced as well. I knew it. So she married beneath her. Marrying beneath her? Please. She probably just found some honest guy to settle down with. Who in the industry would dare to get involved with a femme fatale like Clara? My heart aches for him. The handsome guy should divorce her immediately. I'm available. I swing both ways. Sisters, brothers, I'm here for you. Our first task of the day was to make lunch. After Tomas and I went upstairs to drop off our luggage, he asked me, "What do you feel like eating?" I was pleasantly surprised. I hadn't expected him to be so cooperative, even offering to cook. "Anything is fine." "Then come downstairs with me." Huh? Shouldn't the normal response be, "Then just wait here and I'll bring it up when it's ready"? Completely baffled, I walked into the kitchen. Tiffany was already there. She had changed into a cute, frilly apron, but was brandishing a massive chef's knife over a large pile of prepped ingredients. She smiled when she saw me. "Clara, why don't you go relax in the living room? I'll handle lunch today." "She's not cooking." Tomas emerged from behind me. "She's just going to stand here and keep me company." With that, he took an apron off the wall hook, held it out to me, and very naturally placed his hands on the counter. "Help me put this on." My face flushed as I helped him tie the apron. As I was tying the knot, on a sudden impulse, I wrapped my arms around his waist. On camera, it looked just like an embrace. I heard Tomas let out a low chuckle right next to my ear. The comment section was flooded with a wave of "Damn. This is weird. Why is this couple kind of sweet? So naive. It's just an act, like that other couple over there. So fake it hurts." Yeah, didn't you see how stiff Clara's face was? Tiffany's probably thinking, "I came here to cook, not to watch you two flaunt your relationship. Are you trying to bully me just because my Vincent isn't here?" Tomas had me inspect the refrigerator and the pantry with him, asking me in detail what I wanted to eat. Then he took out a can of salmon and began to prepare our lunch. In between her own busy preparations, Tiffany shot me a strange look. "Clara, does Tomas do all the cooking in your house?" Her question caught me completely off guard. That was a detail I hadn't prepared a story for. Seeing my panic, Tomas smoothly took over the conversation. "Barring any unforeseen circumstances, yes, I do." "You're a woman and you don't even cook?" Tiffany looked at me with a hint of disdain. I lowered my head, feeling a pang of guilt. "I'm sorry, but I'm the kind of lazy person who orders takeout even when living alone. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. My husband has a sensitive stomach, so I often get up at 5 in the morning to make him a healthy breakfast," Tiffany announced proudly, brandishing her spatula. I was genuinely stunned. It took me a moment to find my voice. Oh, wow. That's impressive. The comment section, which had been buzzing with discussions about Tiffany's marital philosophy, instantly broke down in laughter. Ha 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 ha, did I hear her right? What did she just say? Oh my God, Clara actually said that out loud. Tiffany's face just turned green. I hereby declare Clara my official internet spokesperson for the day. What century are we in that people still believe in that way to a man's stomach nonsense? That's just sick. Having made a fool of myself in front of Tiffany, and not wanting to leave Tomas alone, I looked for something to do. I found some avocados and milk in the pantry and used a high-speed blender to whip up an avocado smoothie. Tomas was preparing a Japanese-style salmon rice dish in the rice cooker, and the aroma was already wafting through the kitchen. I leaned in curiously. What's that? Salmon rice. It smells so good. I could feel myself drooling. You can make this when you're home alone in the future. It's really simple. Tomas patiently explained the recipe to me, which brand of salmon was the most flavorful, that the onions should be diced to add moisture, that adding small mushrooms would give it a special fragrance, to add the seasonings after 30 minutes, and the flavor-enhancing garnishes in the last 5 minutes. I held a warm cup of tea and nodded along, staring at his handsome face. I thought to myself that it was no wonder he was so good-looking, even something as mundane as reciting a recipe sounded enjoyable coming from him. So that's basically it. Did you get all that? I flashed my best professional smile. Got it. Then repeat it back to me. My smile instantly shattered. Ha 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 ha, Clara was obviously spacing out. This is like a classic scene of a top student tutoring a slacker. I'm officially on Team Clara. I don't care how handsome the guy is, I can't remember recipes either. Tomas's long, narrow eyes glanced at me coolly. I've been talking for this long, and you haven't heard a single word. Clara, you're not paying attention. I'm sorry, I said, standing up straight and admitting my mistake. Tomas grunted in response. Well, then you'll have to think of a way to make it up to me. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Is this something I can listen to for free? What kind of master of seduction is this? The tutoring roleplay. Even when I'm dead and buried in my coffin, I will use my decaying voice to declare, there's something special about this Clara woman. Tomas quickly finished the salmon rice, and with my avocado smoothie, we each had a large bowl. Tiffany, meanwhile, was still slaving away at her Thanksgiving-level feast until 1 in the afternoon. In the end, we had to lend a hand just to get all the food on the table. Everyone sat down to eat together, though of course, Tomas and I were having our second meal. Vincent delicately tasted the beef she had painstakingly slow-cooked. It's a little bland. Tiffany pouted, looking wronged but not daring to say anything. Across the table, Tomas casually asked me, what about you? Too salty or too bland? With Vincent's cautionary tale right in front of me, I shot up straight in my chair. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Anything you make is perfect. The comment section was filled with a stream of ha ha ha. Clara, you ask if I'm moved? I don't dare move. JPG. I've never seen anyone so afraid of her husband. Clara is a real coward. It's because Tomas is such a flirt. You can feel his charismatic presence even through the screen. After the meal, the judging panel gave scores to each of the 4 families. Tiffany stared at the 50 on the screen in disbelief. What's going on? This must be a mistake. Why do we only have 50 points, while Clara and her husband have 90? All they made was some rice dish. The quality and quantity of our food were far superior. One of the off-site judges explained, because cooking is about more than just the food. The 3 meals of the day are the most important daily activities for a family. If only one person is making all the effort, it becomes a mechanical task. Over a long life, repeating this every single day is enough to make anyone break down. But Clara and Tomas did an excellent job. Tomas knows how to cook, but he also asked Clara to keep him company. The entire process was filled with exploration and discovery, turning what could have been a repetitive chore into a fun and interactive game between the couple. And there's something particularly good about Clara. Although she didn't cook, she knew how to provide emotional support. She's great at giving compliments, which is something Vincent is seriously lacking. I lowered my head in shame. To be honest, Tomas and I weren't as perfect as the judge made us out to be. The main reason was that we weren't a real couple, so we were naturally more polite and respectful to each other. We had only intended to go through the motions and be the supporting cast, so I felt a little embarrassed that we had ended up in first place after the very first round. The afternoon activity was shopping. The production team took all of us to a shopping mall and let us roam free. Of course, the cameras were following our every move. Tiffany was determined to make a comeback. The moment we entered the mall, she pointed at the luxury stores, rattling off names like an expert. LV released several new styles of their lace-up sneakers this year. They're all pretty nice. Clara, want to go take a look? Sure, I said. She linked her arm through mine as we walked into the store, with Vincent and Tomas naturally following behind us, walking side by side. In the car on the way over, Tiffany and Vincent had already analyzed the situation. The shopping challenge was clearly a test of whether the husband would patiently shop with his wife and willingly pay for everything. She had warned Vincent to be on his best behavior, no complaining about being tired, act enthusiastic, and be quick with the credit card to build up his doting husband persona. Vincent had nodded vigorously in agreement. The store staff led us into the VIP room. Tiffany grandly selected a pile of clothes and went into the fitting room to try them on. With nothing else to do, I plopped down on the sofa. Vincent, who was holding a clothes hanger, looked at me with a shocked expression, as if to say, "Are you allowed to sit down?" Ha 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 ha, Vincent is the model husband, paying for his wife's shopping spree and not even daring to sit. What's wrong with Clara? She's acting more like a stereotypical guy than Vincent. To be fair, Clara's posture and demeanor are exactly like a straight husband who's bored and tired of shopping with his wife. Tomas walked over. Aren't you going to try anything on? I shook my head. No, I can't afford it. You can use my card. You're just a regular office worker too. You should save your money. Tiffany overheard our conversation and stepped out of the fitting room, still buttoning her blouse. Clara, are you even a celebrity anymore? Designer brands are our battle armor. If a brand pays me to attend an event, I'll wear their clothes. Otherwise, I prefer to hunt for bargains online, I said honestly. Not everyone in this business makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. For a minor actress like me, the pay isn't high, but the expenses are still endless. I often spend more than I earn. With the industry in a slump, I can barely make ends meet. And you expect me to put on a show of buying designer bags for the whole country while I'm just here to earn a small appearance fee? Even if I get torn to shreds online for this today, my answer is still the same: I don't have the money, but I've got my life. The comment section, which had been buzzing about the couples, went silent for a moment. Huh? I didn't realize I was using the same shopping strategy as Clara. I envy Tiffany, but I feel like Clara is a true reflection of us normal people. Looking at my own wallet, I suddenly can't get into this couple's dynamic anymore. Is Clara really that broke? She's a celebrity. This has to be an act, right? Tiffany also found it unbelievable, but in a different way. No way. You can actually wear clothes from Amazon? What's wrong with that? When you're choosing, just check the reviews and make sure it's not some shady, no-name product. Other than that, it just comes down to whether you like it and if it's comfortable. Tiffany was unconvinced and looked at Vincent with a playful pout. The last time I wore something a little more casual to a party, people started thinking Vincent was going bankrupt. I can't let him lose face like that. I nodded. I used to worry about things like that too. But when you think about it, the manufacturing industry in the US is very advanced, and many international luxury brands are actually produced here. Yet, all the markup goes to European corporations. Some people might genuinely think that affordable products are beneath them, but every time I put on a well-made, affordable piece of clothing, I feel a sense of pride, knowing that I'm supporting our domestic manufacturing with my actions. Wow. That's some corporate-level thinking. Whoa, did Clara memorize a script for that? Can Hollywood even handle this level of intelligence? Why are designer brands considered good and affordable brands bad? Because international capital controls the narrative. Clara really understands consumerism. Tiffany frowned and stayed silent for a moment before deciding to change the subject. I want to buy a few more bags. Vincent finally had his moment to shine. He pulled out his black card. Buy them. But no one in the comments section cared about their display of affection anymore. Tomas saw that I was bored. Do you want to go to the supermarket first? I noticed the villa is pretty empty. I quickly nodded. Even though I was here to be a supporting character, I couldn't just do nothing and coast through the whole show. We went to the supermarket first, and then Tomas said he wanted to check out the electronics section by himself. I had my own little plan, so we split up. I actually wanted to buy him a small gift. I felt really bad about this whole situation. I hadn't landed a role in 6 months, and when this reality show opportunity came up with a decent paycheck, I thought maybe I could ask Tomas to pretend to be my husband and we could split the money. I honestly didn't think he would agree. The more I talked about it, the more ridiculous it sounded even to me. But to my surprise, Tomas agreed without hesitation. Right up until this morning, I was still worried he would back out. Not only did he show up, but he also helped me win the first challenge. I rarely get such positive feedback from the audience, and it would be a lie to say I wasn't happy about it. I walked into the Lego store and looked around. What's a good gift for a guy? I remembered that Tomas really enjoyed building these little things. How old is the guy? I blushed and cleared my throat. About my age. The store clerk understood immediately. Then get him this Titanic set. It's a symbol of love. I almost started stuttering. That's not appropriate. The clerk insisted, pushing a large and a small box towards me. We have a promotion right now. Buy the big one, get the small one free. If you buy this 1.4-meter version, you get this mini version for free. They look so cute together when they're finished, like a matching pair. In the end, I couldn't resist the allure of a buy one get one free deal. I asked the production team to help me send the items back to the villa. A gift needs a little element of surprise, after all. When I saw Tomas, I couldn't stop grinning from ear to ear. He had the same expression. What are you smiling about? I quickly composed myself. Nothing. He turned to look out the window, clearly trying to suppress a laugh. I snuck a glance at him. What are you smiling about? Tomas whispered, nothing. The comment section went wild with a thick wall of ah. As soon as we returned to the villa, the production team made an announcement. It's time to calculate the intimacy points. Please present the gifts you purchased this afternoon to your husband or wife. Everyone was stunned. Tiffany had bought a pile of clothes and bags, which now completely buried a bewildered Vincent. Tiffany, in turn, received a fishing rod from Vincent, looking equally speechless. Another couple had gotten a haircut and a spa treatment respectively. They hugged and said they were gifting their better selves to each other. Then it was our turn. You didn't happen to buy me something, did you? Tomas asked slyly, already unwrapping a huge box. Oh, the Titanic. I felt like I couldn't clear my name even if I jumped into the Hudson River. You said I needed to make it up to you. I like it, he said, glancing at me. But it's not my favorite. He likes you. He likes you, he likes you. Kiss him already. This husband actually communicates. He uses his words. This is amazing. I can't believe I'm actually shipping Clara with someone. The host asked Tomas, did you happen to prepare a gift as well, Tomas? It's not exactly a gift. Tomas unwrapped a Nintendo Switch. We're going to be living here for half a month, so I downloaded all the popular two-player games. Clara, Tomas said, his dark eyes fixed on me, I want to play with you. For some reason, hearing those words made tears well up in my eyes. I knew it was all fake. Maybe it was because I was all alone in this city. And maybe it was because that Switch just happened to be the special Animal Crossing edition that I had wanted to buy but couldn't bring myself to spend the money on. Unsurprisingly, Tomas and I once again received the highest intimacy score, putting us in first place. That night, I was trending on Twitter for all the wrong reasons. Clara Sweet Home, Clara Manipulator, and Clara Scripted were all in the top 10. People were saying I had paid off the production team to know the challenges in advance, that Tomas and I were just acting, and that I was tearing down Tiffany to make myself look better. I slipped into our room and whispered to Tomas, I'm only here to be a foil for the other contestants. We don't have to try so hard. We can just coast through the rest of the show. Tomas had just gotten out of the shower and was drying his hair. He glanced at me. Huh? I am just coasting. My eyes were glued to his 8-pack abs. Yeah, I can see that. Did I do something wrong to interfere with your work? I don't really know the rules of your industry. I apologize. Tomas sat on the edge of the bed, his eyes cast down, looking cool and aloof. No, not at all. Don't worry about any of that. Just do whatever you want. I knelt in front of him and babbled reassurances for a while. Tomas finally seemed to cheer up. Okay. We have a long hike all day tomorrow. Let's get to bed early. He patted the space on the bed next to him. That's right. Because it was a couples reality show, we only had one bed. I hesitated for a moment. Tomas seemed to understand and obediently picked up the comforter. I'll sleep on the floor. No. I quickly scrambled into the bed and got under the covers. Tomas was right. We had a long day of hiking tomorrow. I needed a good night's sleep. Tomas turned off the light. Good night. There was an unmistakable hint of laughter in his voice. I clutched my little blanket and stared at the ceiling, all too aware of his breathing so close to me. My original plan had been to fake being sick the next morning to miss the entire day's activities and let the other couples surpass us in points. How did things get so complicated? At 4 o'clock the next morning, Tomas dragged me out of bed and stuffed me into a down jacket. The first task of the day was a tandem bicycle race. 1 bike per couple. At the starting line, Tiffany was talking to the director about something. I vaguely heard words like camera angles and shots, and the director was nodding frequently. It seemed that being outshone by us in the first 2 rounds had made her anxious. This time, she was planning to really show off Vincent's physique. She gracefully walked back to the center of the shot. Tomas is the only non-actor here. Isn't this challenge a bit unfair to them? The comment section was filled with praise for her being kind and fair. Tomas asked me, what's unfair? I explained, when we're filming, we often work around the clock, so we're all in pretty good physical shape. She's implying that you're not physically fit. Tomas was silent for a long moment, then let out a cold laugh. Heh. The comment section blew up. You should never tell a man he's weak. Tiffany made a huge mistake. Is Tiffany wrong, though? He does look kind of frail. Vincent and Tiffany are such big stars, yet they're being overshadowed by a scripted couple and still showing concern for them. They're angels. Waiting for the scripted couple to finish last. Tomas seemed to be dwelling on the comment. As he got on the bike, he asked me, if I'm not physically fit, will you look down on me? I, who had been planning to slack off, gripped the handlebars tightly. No. I'm very fit. I'll do the hard work. Tomas nodded. Good. The starting gun fired, and the 4 bicycles shot forward. I pedaled frantically from the back seat. I was fine with being a foil for others, but I couldn't let the entire country think Tomas was weak. The course was a mountain road. It looked gentle, but it became more and more exhausting the further we rode. Tomas turned his head, his expression serious. "Clara, I can't pedal anymore." My legs felt like they were filled with lead, but what could I say? Vincent and Tiffany were right in front of us, and Tiffany was actually giggling. "Well, maybe you should get off and walk for a bit." At our current speed, it wasn't much different from walking anyway. "Okay." Tomas hopped off the bike. A moment later, I felt the bike become significantly lighter. Tiffany, sitting on the back of Vincent's bike, stared at me as if she'd seen a ghost as I overtook them. Vincent, who was pedaling with all his might, shot a fierce glare in my direction. When he saw what was behind me, his eyes went wide. I slowly glanced over my shoulder. Tomas was behind the bike, striding along with his long legs, and pushing. The comment section was flooded with question marks. Is that even allowed? Ah ha 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 ha, why is this so funny? The scripted couple is really giving it their all. Fine, I give up. Even if it's scripted, their script is brilliant, and their acting is top-notch. Because the audience reaction was so positive, the director's car pulled up alongside us, and the camera turned to focus on us. Before I could even feel happy about it, I saw a long, clear stretch of road ahead. Stop. Stop. Tomas. It's a downhill slope. There's a downhill slope ahead. Go for it, honey. A powerful force pushed me from behind. Aha! I flew down the hill at lightning speed. A deafening roar of laughter erupted from behind me. I was almost at the finish line before I remembered I had brakes. Tomas had been running behind me for 2 miles. The moment my feet touched the ground, I yelled, "We're running out of time, get on." Tomas jumped onto the seat, and this time his legs pumped like an engine. I watched as we passed Vincent and Tiffany, then the millionaire heir and his model wife, and finally, the other veteran acting couple. Tomas straightened up as we shot across the finish line, the first to arrive. Did we win? Did we win? I was still in a daze. Tomas ditched the bike and pulled me to the edge of the road. Below us was a boundless sea of clouds, with the sun just beginning to rise. He took my hand, reached out, and caught the first ray of light as it pierced through the clouds. "I don't know if we won," Tomas said, his eyes curving into crescents as he smiled, "but we made it in time for the sunrise, Clara." On Twitter, the hashtag #TomasSunrise climbed the trending charts at an astonishing speed, eclipsing all the previous negativity. Damn. This man is so ridiculously romantic. Who's eating their words now? Turns out I was the clown all along. Clara must have saved the entire universe in a past life to get such a good script this time around. It's hilarious and touching. That's bullshit. Tamara is real. In the end, we were disqualified from this round's intimacy points for breaking the rules by pushing the bike. Disqualified? Tomas seemed very bothered by this. The couples who successfully completed the challenge get to have their photo taken in front of the sunrise over the sea of clouds. Except for you two, the host announced regretfully. We both looked at the other 3 couples. They were embracing on the most beautiful viewing platform. Tiffany and Vincent, in particular, were locked in a passionate kiss against the backdrop of the magnificent morning glow. A battery of cameras was aimed at them, flashes going off constantly, surrounding them like it was a red carpet at a film festival. The host interviewed me on the side. "How are you feeling right now?" My toes curled in embarrassment. Kissing in public like that is a little bold. Ha 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 ha. Clara, you don't have to be so honest. Vincent and Tiffany are probably going to kill you. Honestly, I don't like seeing people show off like that on Instagram either. The host teased, "As an actress, haven't you ever had a kissing scene?" Dylan's supporting characters don't get kissing scenes, I said, my voice filled with the loneliness of the perpetually single. The male lead won't kiss me, and the other supporting characters don't want to. Tomas, who had been eavesdropping nearby, couldn't help but smile. He walked over to a photographer, said something to him, and then, to the photographer's utter confusion, took the camera from him. I was shocked. Why are you grabbing the camera crew's equipment? You're not even in the industry, and you've already learned how to steal the show. Hollywood really is a corrupting influence. Go on, get over there. Tomas casually found a good spot. I'll take your picture. As the flash started going off, the other three couples stopped their public displays of affection and looked over curiously. The camera crew also turned their lenses on us, capturing Tomas as he constantly changed positions to get the best shot. Whoa, he actually knows how to take photos. What a model husband. I'm going to cry. My boyfriend takes pictures of me that make me look like a monster, while other people's boyfriends turn themselves into a blur just to make their girlfriend look good. To the person above, Tomas is her husband. I got some beautiful souvenir photos, and not wanting Tomas to leave empty-handed, I switched roles with him midway through to return the favor. But that wasn't enough for Tomas. He even called Vincent over to take a picture of the two of us together. We can lose the competition, but we have to have the photos, Tomas said excitedly, waving a Polaroid and admiring a funny picture of me pretending to push him off the mountain. The judges commented, you see, no matter if they win or lose, they're always in a state of love and affection. They enjoy every moment they spend together, without worrying about the result. The process is what's most important. I love their relaxed vibe. Although we lost a round and dropped to 4th place, the number of fans on the Tamara CP forum continued to jump, gradually surpassing the other three couples to become number 1. In the afternoon, the couples split up for separate activities. I had originally planned to team up with the veteran acting couple, but Tiffany insisted on joining me. Clara, you two always have such creative ways of showing affection. I want to learn from you. Then you should talk to Tomas, I said honestly. He's the romantic one. I'm not. Tiffany sighed dramatically. I'm so envious of you. You're just cruising through this show. Unlike me, my husband is so clueless. I have to do all the work, and he still doesn't get it. The comment section immediately filled with sympathy for her. As a longtime fan of Vincent, I'm begging for Tiffany's forgiveness. Tiffany really has her hands full. Not like Clara, who relies on her man for everything. These two-person games really put the other person to the test. If you look closely, it's all Tomas carrying the team. He cooks, he buys gifts, he goofs around pushing the bike, he figures out how to take pictures. Clara has been slacking off the entire time. Hey, our Clara is cute too, okay? But that small voice was quickly drowned out by the rest of the comments. Seeing Tiffany's frustration, I could only offer some blunt comfort. Well, what can you do? You're already married. You can't get a divorce over something so small, right? Tiffany stared at me, completely shocked. The comment section was also filled with question marks. Ha 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 ha, is her mouth laced with poison? See. Our Clara has a persona. She's a straight-talking, funny comedian. I've been wanting to say this for a while. Tiffany's way of talking is so passive-aggressive, but for Clara, sincerity is her ultimate weapon. Tiffany was silent for a long moment before trying to save face. You're right, you're right. Sometimes I do get angry, but then I remember that he's been my idol since I was a child. Even though I know he has his flaws, I'll still try to be patient with him. That's nice. Encouraged by the support, Tiffany became even more animated. But some habits are just so ingrained, they're hard to change. She pulled out her phone and swiped. Look, we've only been apart for half an hour, and he's already bombarding me with messages. Oh, so that's how she's planning to show off this time. I thought about it. When the couples are separated, it's the perfect opportunity to compete over whose husband is clingier. Tiffany chatted with Vincent on her phone for a while, then looked up at me. Do you two talk a lot? I secretly copied Tomas's phone number and sent him a friend request on WhatsApp. A lot. Tomas replied cautiously, who is this? Me, Clara. Tomas finally accepted my request. Tiffany was still asking, what do you usually talk about? How should I know? He just added me. And he was still suspiciously trying to figure out if I was a fake account. I thought for a moment and said seriously, we talk about how to prevent online scams. Tiffany had already learned how to deal with me. Her face twisted for only a second before returning to normal. Well, that's good. Vincent actually just filmed a public service announcement about online safety. I admired the ancient stone monuments as I listened to her ramble on, getting a full rundown of Vincent's work schedule and travel plans. The third time I had to pull her away from an obstacle, she looked up from her phone and asked curiously, Clara, how come you and Tomas aren't talking at all? He's with Vincent. You've been giving me a real-time report of everything he's doing. Are you two always like this? Her eyes lit up, and she lectured me with a triumphant smile. Let me tell you, if you don't talk to him, you have no idea who else is. A person only has so much time in a day. If you don't claim it, someone else will. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Am I an app, competing for user engagement time? I think the desire to share is fundamental, Tiffany said, clutching her phone, her tone earnest. If a husband and wife don't even want to talk to each other, then the relationship is doomed. You have a point. I glanced at her screen. But your phone is about to die. Tiffany glared at me and stomped off to find a power bank. The place I had chosen was a sculpture park. It was vast but poorly developed, and the further we walked, the more it felt like a deserted wilderness. Before we could find a power bank, it started pouring rain. My first instinct was to call an Uber, but Tiffany stopped me. Don't worry, Vincent will come for me. Oh, I see her little game. She gets trapped in the rain, and Vincent comes to her rescue like a knight in shining armor. Another perfect opportunity to show off. Well, you can wait then. I'm calling a car. It's not that I didn't want to play along, but with the wind and the rain, it was just too cold. I decided to make a run for it. Tiffany was dumbfounded. You're not going to wait for Tomas? Vincent is your real husband. Tomas is just an actor I hired. I have no expectations of him, and I would feel bad making him come pick me up. I just smiled and shrugged. We supporting characters don't have such high standards. As soon as the words left my mouth, the photographer started cheering and clapping. A silhouette appeared in the wind and rain, a black trench coat and a black umbrella, moving closer. I told you didn't need to call a car. Tiffany stood up straight and proud, like a soldier waiting to be decorated. But her expression quickly soured. Her face went pale, and her lips trembled. Clara. The person walked up the steps, holding the umbrella, and called my name. I was stunned. Ah, Tomas looks so handsome in that black trench coat. This isn't about whether he's handsome or not, you fool. I can't believe Tomas was the one to show up. Vincent really is a letdown. Clara can always count on Tomas. I walked forward, my face flushing, and brushed the water droplets from his shoulder. What are you doing here? I saw the weather forecast said it was going to rain heavily. That simple sentence made my nose sting. I would have called a car myself, I said in a low voice. You're in the middle of the park. Cars can't get in here. He took off his trench coat and wrapped it around me. Are you cold? Of course not. The coat was still warm from his body. But I didn't dare say that, because Tiffany looked like she was about to have a breakdown. She asked the photographer to borrow his phone to call Vincent. Vincent already went back to the villa. He asked me to pick you both up, Tomas said, handing her the umbrella. Tiffany's lips were pressed into a thin line. After a long moment, she snatched the umbrella from him, her eyes welling up with tears, and ran out into the rain. Tomas was left completely bewildered. Don't ask why, I warned him. Tomas nodded obediently and changed the subject. This cold front is really strong. I tried to give him his coat back, but he held up the umbrella instead. This umbrella is a bit small. I saw that half of his shoulder was already soaked, so I squeezed closer to him. He naturally put his arm around my shoulder. Thanks for the help. Clara. He's manipulating you. Don't walk into the lion's den. Oh my God, I've never seen a real-life manipulative man before. This is so weird. Why are they acting so distant if they're a married couple? To the person above, that's called being a gentleman. When we got back to the villa, Tiffany and Vincent were in the middle of a huge fight. I didn't know if it was real or fake, but either way, they were going to be the top trending topic. While they were fighting and making up, Tomas and I ate dinner and took showers. The evening was free time. The other two couples decided to take advantage of Vincent's argument to go on a date, since their scores were all very close. I was exhausted from walking all afternoon, and Tomas didn't seem to mind being in last place. He sat down next to me and pulled out a stack of photos. I looked through them curiously. He smiled and said, "These are from the small town I visited this afternoon." The scenery was beautiful. The photos showed a relaxed-looking Vincent, a stream flowing through the town, riverside bed and breakfasts, and a dog basking in the sun. He told me how he had rented an electric scooter for $2 for half an hour and had ridden past Aunt Anna's cinnamon roll shop, Grandma's sewing nook, Uncle's flower garden, a cat cafe, and a handmade cake shop. I couldn't help but laugh, and before I knew it, I was telling him about my own adventure in the sculpture park. It was the former estate of a Gilded Age railroad tycoon family, which had produced several senators and a governor. As I was flipping through the photos, I saw an old, faded photograph mixed in with the Polaroids. It was a picture of me in my high school uniform, sitting in a bustling breakfast diner, memorizing vocabulary words. "When did you take this?" "I don't remember," Tomas said, smoothly tucking the photo back into his wallet. "Oh my God, he carries a picture of Clara with him? I heard they were high school classmates? This is like a fairy tale of childhood sweethearts ending up together. Then what about all those rumors about Clara's sponsors? Can someone dig into that?" Just as I was about to ask more about the photo, the host announced that the day's activities were over and it was time to calculate the intimacy points. We all gathered in the living room. Guess who today's winner is? The veteran acting couple and the millionaire couple were both confident. "I think it's us." They had both gone on elaborate dates that evening, and with their scores from the daytime challenges, they should have been able to beat Vincent's feuding family. As for us, we had skipped 2 out of the 3 activities. We were a lost cause. The host announced with a smile, "Both of your scores are 82 points. A tie for first place?" They both looked displeased. "I'm sorry, but first place belongs to someone else." The host looked at the two of us, who were watching the commotion from the back, and announced our final score of 85 points. The millionaire was not happy. All Tomas did was pick up his wife. "What's so great about that?" The veteran acting couple also objected. They were disqualified this morning and didn't have any activities this evening. "Oh, but they did. They shared their lives with each other," the judges chimed in from the large screen. "That's right. Their evening date wasn't grand, but it had a feeling of quiet, everyday companionship." After a long and tiring day, the women were clearly exhausted. But the men might still be thinking, should I plan a date for her? In reality, what she really needs at that moment isn't a date. Just being able to sit and talk quietly with her is enough. It's really that simple. This kind of interaction also fits perfectly with our theme for this challenge, separation. What comes after separation? Reunion. And when you reunite, you share what you've seen and heard along the way. In this way, what was a solo journey becomes a shared experience for two. Tiffany was not convinced. But we were sharing things the whole time. Why did we only get 50 points again? One of the judges explained, "Personally, I'm not a fan of overly clingy relationships that lack personal space. The prerequisite for sharing is, first and foremost, having your own unique life experiences." Our theme was separate travels, but if you never even look up from your screen, it doesn't even count as traveling. In a marriage, the most important thing is actually to be yourself. An interesting individual is the cornerstone of a beautiful marriage. And who says they didn't have a desire to share throughout the day? How else did Tomas get those photos? I was completely dumbfounded. It felt like I had gone into an exam without studying, guessed on every single question, and somehow gotten them all right and finished first in the class. Tomas accepted the model couple trophy again. The judges are better at giving compliments than I am. That night, the entire internet was accusing the reality show of being rigged. I lay in bed, tossing and turning, my mind consumed by one thought: when did Tomas take that photo? I had no memory of it at all. The next morning, Tomas was frowning at his phone. We have to find a way to clear up these rumors about the show being rigged today. I told him to stop looking at it. Maybe it really is scripted. Tomas was bewildered. I didn't get a script. Of course we didn't. But the production team might be pulling some strings for ratings. For example, even though my reputation is the worst, they might be deliberately promoting me to create drama and get more exposure. Tomas's frown deepened. Isn't it only natural that we're in first place? Don't worry about it so much. It's fine either way. Tomas followed me. Clara, you didn't used to be like this. Oh? What was I like then? Tomas gave me 4 words: spirited and uncompromising. I almost laughed out loud. Is that how you describe a girl? Back in high school, everyone knew our class president was ambitious, competitive, and had no tolerance for injustice. Well, I've been taught a harsh lesson by reality. The moment I stepped into this industry, I realized there's always someone better and more powerful out there. My little bit of pride is worthless in Hollywood. I can only play the part of a minor, supporting villain. It's all part of the growing process, I said calmly. I remember you were pretty arrogant in high school too, always looking down on everyone. And now, you're the model husband. I can be the model husband, Tomas said, looking at me intently. But my class president has to be the leading lady. I stopped in my tracks. There it was again, that feeling. Like that faded old photograph hidden among the pictures of the small town. When we got downstairs, we found that Tiffany had fallen ill. Vincent was busy in the kitchen, making chicken soup and oatmeal. The production team had changed the schedule to an indoor activity, truth or dare. The rules were interesting. No messing around, just couples taking turns drawing cards and asking questions. The cards were definitely loaded with life or death questions, the kind that would send you straight to the top of the trending topics after the episode aired. The veteran acting couple went first. Do you ever feel pressured being with me? The husband's eyes welled up as he answered. Yes. A lot of times, people online say I'm just mooching off you. It makes me so angry. I work hard too. I've earned everything I have. Why do they say that? Just as expected, the truth was the dare. The dramatic effect was spectacular. When it was my turn, Tomas rushed to the question box. I'll go first. I reminded him quietly, people are more curious about you. After all, you're the internet's model husband. But I have a lot of questions for you, Tomas said, drawing the first card. So many people curse you out online. Is there anything you want to say to them? No. You have to say something, the host said, looking at me with a complicated expression. I don't believe any celebrity can be completely unaffected by negative comments. Look at that young couple this morning, they were crying because of the recent backlash. He's younger, he doesn't have much experience. The first couple of times, it really does feel like the end of the world. But after a while, you become numb to it, like me, I said nonchalantly. It's like getting chewed out by your boss at work. You still go home and do what you have to do. Ha 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 ha, what a strange analogy. That's our Clara. I love listening to Clara talk. It's so annoying when everyone, men and women, just cries all the time. Across from me, Tomas looked stunned for a moment. But you have to endure so much malice. Even I can't stand to see it. It's fine. You always have to pay a price to make money. What's a little verbal abuse? People always say we actors make a lot of money. A large part of that should be considered compensation for emotional distress. The work I do plus the abuse I take equals the money I earn. It's perfectly reasonable. Tomas's frown gradually relaxed. It was my turn to draw a card. What are your thoughts on my acting career? Let's pick another one. But Tomas answered before I could. My personal ranking is Sea of Hate, Light of Day, A Woman's Secret, and Dragon and Phoenix. I gasped. You've seen my shows? Of course. Tomas gave a wry smile. What do you think got me through all those years studying abroad? For a moment, I was a little confused about which one of us was the actor. How could he come up with these lines so effortlessly on camera, and make them sound so real? The host pressed on. So, what are your thoughts on your wife being typecast as the villainous supporting character? I actually quite like my roles, I said, annoyed. Even though they're all villains, at least their motives are clear, their goals are defined, they're thoroughly evil, and their character logic is sound. I have a great time playing them. Tomas looked at me with a disappointed expression. I will invest in a production to let her play the leading lady, in a script with clear motives, defined goals, and sound character logic. Ha 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 ha, why does he sound like her #1 fan? The star has no ambition, and her biggest fan is losing his mind. I'm a fan now. Clara is such a breath of fresh air in Hollywood. She doesn't play the victim, she doesn't pretend to be a saint, and she doesn't bite the hand that feeds her. Suddenly, we heard crying from the next room. Tiffany ran past in her slippers and slammed the door. Vincent stood there, holding a bowl of chicken soup, his brow furrowed. A moment earlier, the host had asked him the same question. Vincent had answered seriously, I don't think she can truly be considered an actress. From a professional standpoint, her acting skills are not up to par. The stark contrast between the two husbands' assessments of their wives' careers was deliberately edited together by the production team and quickly caused a huge uproar online. With his solid image as a model husband, Tomas had effortlessly turned Vincent into his foil. The Tom-era CP gained a massive following, and thanks to him, I had my first real fan club. Are you happy? Tomas asked, looking at me gently. Public opinion is a double-edged sword, I told him, speaking from experience. Wherever there's a lot of attention, there's a lot of trouble. My prediction was correct. Vincent was an award-winning actor with a massive and terrifying fanbase. They quickly branded Tomas and me as their rivals. Online harassment was one thing, but they actually managed to dig up evidence that we were a fake couple. They analyzed everything from our physical interactions to our newly added WhatsApp contacts, from interviews with our old classmates to a search of the marriage registration system. Step by step, they built an airtight case. Wow, Clara's persona holds up. So it's true. The model family, the model couple, it was all fake. What did I tell you? I knew it was fake from the start. A woman's intuition is never wrong. Poor Vincent and Tiffany, getting played by these two actors. No wonder they were always so far ahead. The others are real couples, they're just acting. Of course a real relationship can't compete with scripted, manufactured sweetness. Damn, I was only a fan of Tomas for a few days before this all came crashing down. I'll never believe in love again. This is hilarious. A regular office worker's acting skills are sweeping Hollywood. Thank you, Vincent's fans. Otherwise, I would have been foolishly giving my money to Tomas when he inevitably entered the entertainment industry. I'm tired of this. Clara, get out of Hollywood. The producer slammed the contract down on the table. You two aren't even legally married. My voice trembled. We haven't had the chance to register it yet, but we've had the wedding. Your old classmates said they never received a wedding invitation. We only invited our closest family members. But Tomas's mother said she didn't know about it. The producer's gaze was sharp and piercing. You got married and didn't invite his mother? I swallowed hard. Clara, this is commercial fraud. We can sue you. The show is only halfway through. You two better figure out how to clean up this mess. My head was buzzing. After I left the room, I forced myself to stay calm and said to Tomas, "This was all my idea. You were just helping me. You don't know anything else." All I felt now was regret, deep regret. Not only was I facing jail time over a bit of money, but I had also ruined Tomas's promising future. The thought made tears stream down my face. I shouldn't have been so greedy. I wasn't just helping. I did this willingly. Tomas pulled a small jewelry box from his pocket. "Clara, I've always had feelings for you." I stared blankly at the diamond ring in front of me. Life is always so full of twists and turns. One moment I was facing prison, the next I was being proposed to. You have no idea how happy I was when you asked me to be on the show with you. His eyes were moist, as soft as the hair on his forehead. I may have deceived everyone else, but my desire to be your husband is real. No matter what happens, I want to face it with you. Please don't leave me behind, okay? A bolt of inspiration struck me. I grabbed his sleeve. "Tomas, I have a bold idea. I think we can still salvage this." Tomas looked at me with pure, innocent confusion. "Huh?" I jumped into the car. "There's no time, get in." The production team probably thought I was trying to flee the scene, because they sent a camera car to follow us. I sped all the way to City Hall and pulled Tomas by the hand into the building. "Since you've already proposed, you don't have any objections to marrying me, right?" I asked him one last time. Tomas shook his head, then tried to persuade me, "It's not like we're completely out of options. You shouldn't rush into marrying me just because you're under pressure. I think you're great. I never really thought about getting married before, but after these past few days, I think being married to you wouldn't be so bad." I urged the clerk to hurry. "Can we get an application form, please? We are in a bit of a hurry." A smile played on Tomas's lips as he tapped his fingers on the counter. A hurry to get married. The clerk had never seen anyone so desperate to get a marriage license. And with a whole group of people filming behind them, the scene was filled with drama. In the end, it took us half a day, but we got officially registered as married. When we came out, we were surrounded by reporters. Before I could say anything, Tomas eagerly held up our marriage certificate for everyone to see. "See this?" "Huh, Clara," he pulled me into his arms. "Is my wife. What do you have to say about the rumors that you're a fake couple just trying to cash in? How is this fake?" Tomas held up the marriage certificate reverently and pointed to it. "We are a legally recognized couple, protected by marriage law. Mr. Tomas, it's rumored that you were hired by Miss Clara as an actor to use this reality show as a stepping stone into the entertainment industry. What are your thoughts on that? You can say whatever you want." Tomas smiled with grace and gentleness. "I got to marry my wife, so I'm happy. Isn't getting a marriage license just for a reality show a bit too high a price to pay?" someone shouted from the back. "What are you talking about?" Tomas spread his arms, showcasing me. "My wife is Clara." I couldn't help but cover my face. I had been worried that a normal person like him would be mentally broken by the constant drama of Hollywood. But now, it seemed he wasn't mentally broken at all. In fact, he was a little too energetic. After dealing with the reporters, I slumped into the passenger seat, completely exhausted, as if I had just fought a major battle. Well, now if they try to sue us, at least we have a defense. "Which way are you going? Why are we heading back to the villa? Shouldn't we confront them publicly?" Tomas teased. "Let's skip the confrontation," I said, quickly stopping him. "We'll just explain to the production team that we were waiting for a day that had special meaning for us to get married." "Yes, that's it." "Okay. Whatever you say." He squeezed my hand, his fingers intertwining with mine. When we returned to the camp, the place was decorated with lights and lanterns. There was a barbecue party on the lawn, and everyone was cheerfully holding sparklers and chanting, "Congrats on your wedding." Huh? This was not what I had imagined. Surprise. Didn't see that coming, did you? the director laughed and came forward. Is the treatment so different just because we have a license now? Wait, were you all in on this together? I shot a glare at Tomas. Tomas immediately adopted a submissive posture. Because the news broke that we weren't legally married, all sorts of rumors started flying online. I discussed it with the production team, and we decided this was the only way. At least this way, the rumors will die down, and you won't be forced out of the industry because of the damage to your reputation. I snorted. Tomas, I didn't realize you were so cunning. I've been thinking about how to marry you for 10 years. It's only natural that I'd have a few strategies, he said politely. 10 years. I thought of that old photo and our high school days. I was the spirited class president, and he was the poor, aloof top student. He came from a single-parent family, his mother supported him by running a small diner. He was cold and distant, which made others jealous. The boys in our class would go to his mother's diner just to cause trouble. A teenager's pride is a fragile thing, and he got into several fights because of their provocations. I felt sorry for him, fighting so hard to protect his mother's dignity. It was a shame. Such a brilliant person shouldn't have had to endure that. From then on, I became a regular at his family's diner. I didn't do much, just went there often to eat bagels and intervene when the boys started their pranks. After a while, they didn't dare to cause trouble anymore. That was the extent of our interactions. Later, we went to different universities. And then he went to MIT, and I entered the entertainment industry. Fate doesn't really give you that many choices. It feels like I just blinked, and I became the person I am today. A slacker, compromising, just trying to get by. Making do, taking the easy way out. I once dreamed of standing in the spotlight, shining brightly, but I ended up becoming a blurry, dim figure in the background. Reality is just that unforgiving. I made all the right choices, but I still wasn't the lucky one. You were kind to me, and you were such a good person. I was always watching you, and I never forgot you, Tomas said softly, leading me by the hand to the center of the lawn. I thought about you so much that I became like you, gentle, kind, open-minded, and someone who knows how to enjoy life. There are so many people in this world, but to me, you are the only leading lady. His words startled me back to the present. Under a sky full of stars, surrounded by brilliant fireworks, everyone was smiling at me, offering their blessings. And there was a pair of eyes, full of love, watching me from across the years. My luck, it seemed, had suddenly changed for the better. Epilogue. The production company didn't hold us responsible for anything. After all, we had woven our actual marriage registration into the show, giving them more than enough publicity. Thanks to the Tom era CP, I gained a lot of fans, weathered the storm without any major issues, and even landed a new movie role. This time I was the leading lady. The kind with clear motives, defined goals, and sound character logic. The day the news was officially announced, a new rumor started circulating online. People were saying that Tomas was a master manipulator, that he had orchestrated everything to salvage my career so he could leech off my success. I comforted him, it's a new era. It's perfectly normal for me to be the breadwinner. Don't let it get to you. Tomas was sulking. I want to have a wedding. Fine, have a wedding. Do whatever you want, as long as you're happy. Let's make it a big one. Show them that I'm not some kept man. I'm my wife's rock-solid support, Tomas said indignantly. Well, let's not make it too big. My salary isn't that high right now, I can't afford anything too extravagant. Don't worry, I have money. Tomas crossed his arms, planning the wedding. My company went public. It's worth $5 billion US. Oh, okay then. Wait, what did you say? How much? 50 billion what? Tomas's red lips moved. US dollars. I suspected that either there was something wrong with my hearing, or something was wrong with Tomas's mind. Aren't you an office worker with a $50,000 salary? I remember you used to work a lot of overtime. And you didn't even have a place to stay, you were always at my apartment. It's not good for a founder to take too large a salary. That 6-month period was crazy because we were busy with the Nasdaq listing, so yes, there was a lot of overtime. As for a place to live, I've already bought that penthouse apartment you like by the Hudson River. The paperwork is being processed now. Which one? I shot up from my sickbed. Tomas showed me our chat history. Damn it. I thought he was just sharing pictures of mansions he found online. It's over, I said, collapsing onto the sofa. Now they're definitely going to say you're the rich sponsor who's been backing me all along. Tomas glanced at me. Are there any other sponsors you'd prefer? You're my one and only sponsor. I clung to him, not planning to let go. The rumors had always said I was kept by countless rich men. Now, finally, a real one had shown up. It hadn't been easy for me either. On our wedding day, Tiffany came, but she was alone. Vincent and I are separated. I didn't hold much ill will towards her. She was just vain and wanted to show off her perfect relationship to the world to prove that her husband was the best and doted on her the most, all to get a sense of superiority. Unfortunately, Vincent just wasn't up to the task. Like most men, he didn't really understand his responsibilities in a marriage, let alone how to love someone. She would eventually realize that I was never her rival. My happiness had nothing to do with her own. Sometimes I wonder if he ever really loved me, Tiffany said, blinking slowly, all her previous arrogance gone. I could only offer some comfort. You've probably forgotten what we were like on set just a year ago. Vincent is an award-winning actor, after all. Money is hard to earn, and life is tough. Then how is your life so easy? Tiffany rolled her eyes at me. Ever since Tomas's identity was exposed, he had stopped pretending. He was now known as a business prodigy and tech company CEO, and he had even shamelessly started a film company just to fund my projects. It was outrageously ostentatious. I stammered for a moment. Well, Tomas isn't my easy life. He's my love. Vincent isn't a bad person, Tiffany huffed. He just needs some training. Most men are like that. Exactly. Men like Tomas are rare, basically non-existent. Hee. Tiffany actually raised her handbag to hit me, but luckily, I was fast enough to get away. When I went back, I saw Tomas lecturing Vincent. If you're separated, then go after her. Close your mouth and use your legs. You need to know what to say and what not to say. Vincent hesitated. I can do everything else, but I can't bring myself to praise her acting. It would be a desecration of the art form. You're very principled, Tomas said, patting Vincent on the shoulder. And you deserve to be single. Look, my wife is here. Isn't she beautiful? Vincent replied politely, very beautiful. Tomas became defensive. Why are you looking at my beautiful wife? Don't you have a wife of your own, huh? Vincent was speechless. I quickly rushed over and linked my arm firmly through Tomas's. Tomas was a menace. As a socially responsible person, I, Clara, solemnly swear to keep a close eye on him for the rest of my life and not let him out to wreak havoc on others.